Hello, model car fans. Welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Rel, and this week's build here I'm featuring, it's a really old build from mine. Matter of fact, I can't remember how far back I built this one. Just that, feeling of accomplishment and everything that kind of went along with it. But this is definitely one of my earliest builds, and it's, been with me for a long time. And honestly, I don't know how it survived, not being messed with or not being destroyed or somehow not getting broken, as being one of my earliest builds and everything. But it goes back to a time that I kind of cherish, and I think more about now than I did back then, which is kind of fun and interesting as well. But this is the Monogram 32 Roadster Street Rod kit. It's a pretty basic kit, and builds up pretty easily. And I know it's been reissued many times, and may even be available today. I don't know. I haven't really looked specifically for it, as their other 32 Ford kits are much nicer and definitely way more detailed than this kit ever was. But that's nothing against the kit and with me and how I built it and enjoyed it, because this was back at a time when I didn't really have any model friends. My best friend Jeremy, I know he built the space shuttle, and he did the big 67 Corvette, and we built a couple of models together as friends. But we played a lot, and we did everything. Played in ditches, was out, and all kinds of crazy stuff. But that was being a kid in the 80s. But when it came to building models, there was no internet, there was no social media or anything for sharing it. I just see some of the magazines. I don't think I even knew about the magazines back then. It was basically just parents take me to the hobby shop, buy me one or two, and just show my mom and dad, what I built. And, they encouraged, hands-on arts and craft kind of stuff. And this stuff really started to stick with me and was just fun, innocent time. But I really didn't have very many friends that were, into this kind of stuff. And I didn't have a whole lot of friends to begin with. Wasn't a real social guy. Hung out with a few people, but, didn't have to have a whole lot of friends. That's just kind of how I grew up. But this was one that, as far as the build goes, and back then I just went by whatever caught my fancy, whatever, because when we went to the stores, it was, usually Smitty's or Kmart, and we would see, 10 model kits maybe. I don't remember how many were there. But we just picked something, and my mom would let me pick something if I was good or was doing really good at my schoolwork and everything, and then I'd get to build it. Well, this one being one of those, I really liked the box art and it caught my eye, and I really didn't have a particular interest like muscle cars back then. It was just whatever. And this one, I didn't paint this thing for the most part. It's painted, but it's not painted. It was molded in this yellow plastic. And, I just cleaned it all up and everything. But I remember, it was just a pearl clear coat that I believe it was a tester spray can. So, I shot, the whole body, the pearl. So it's got that pearl coat in it. And you can see it's spray paint, and there's just some blemishes here and there. But it laid down really good. Definitely one of my, especially for my early cars, this was a really good, paint job for me way back then. And, with all the simplified chrome and just some of the detail painting, I'd have to say, you can tell that's all brush painted. And, even the door handles, there's no bare metal foil. Those are chrome, painted the silver. The top is spray painted white of some kind. I don't even think I had my airbrush yet, but I did get my airbrush pretty early on. I always loved those windows, and with the etching and everything in there, they just looked really cool. Just a really simple brown interior, that steering wheel and everything. And even the small block Chevy, even though this is a Ford, it's got a small block Chevy in it. But back then, they pretty much all did. Getting the Ford engines to fit in these frames back then was a little difficult, especially, if you were trying to keep the steering and some of that stuff. But like this kit, there is no steering, there is no brakes, just a couple exhaust pipes, solid axle, and just really simple. And I brush painted that rear axle, the leaf springs. You know, there's the gas tank, but I don't even know if I knew that was a gas tank. I just painted it. But you know, some of those were actually painted body color as well. But you know, the drain plug. I painted the drain plug for whatever reason. Got a nice silver fingerprint right there. Kind of fun to look this over and see some of this stuff in the detail, because I really haven't looked this thing over. But yeah, it's all pretty much brush painted and spray painted. Just very simple time. Painted that radiator black. And you know, I like that grill. One thing I don't remember, and I can't remember, is if those were chrome or if I stripped the chrome off of them and painted them clear. I don't remember. They do look like they've been glued on that bar. So I think I glued them on that bar. Just a tiny little dab of the you know, glue that messes up the plastic and everything. And no black wash in that grill. Just put the grill right in there. And one of the things they were doing back then, but I don't really care for now anyway, is those Michelin TRX tires right there on the front, and then the Goodyear white letter GT radial tires on the back. Of course, if I would have thought about it back then, I would just turn these inside out so the letters weren't out. But the spoke wheels I thought were really cool, although you can see the yellow plastic through them. Chrome, but I think there was like that even back then. Like the chrome didn't get in there very well. I don't think that's shelf wear and tear, because once this thing was done, it just stayed on my shelf. You know, here's the hood, but I even sprayed the underside of the hood. That's kind of surprising for me. I didn't think I would have done that. But I guess I was paying a little bit of attention to the details back then too, a little bit, but not that much. And I don't, you know, got the Jaguar hood thing or whatever this is, the hood ornament that came in the kit. Don't know much about it. But this was, you know, a simpler time where it was just me building them and just kind of enjoying them. And I did a number of street rods. I think I did 4 or 5 street rods and some exotic cars. I had a pretty good mix, but most of them didn't survive. And this is one of the ones that did. It's the only street rod, well, one of 2. I showed the other one as well. But that one got freshened up and a repaint and a wheel change. That was my 32 Ford Phaeton. I showed that one. Or at least I think I did. Well, at least a brief appearance. But, you know, this one, another one that I really haven't shown you guys. But, you know, I built it and just had a good old time doing it. And I don't think it was any kind of record fast build, but it was fun. And even now, just kind of looking it over and realizing some of the stuff I went through and just being real careful on the glue. Because by then, I think I was starting to do the toothpick, where I think my dad or my mom suggested that, you know, if I put the, you know, glue on a toothpick and got it on there real carefully and glued the part instead of actually applying the glue directly from the squeeze tube onto the part. I think that was one of the first tips I had learned. So, you know, even now you see me using a toothpick to apply glue. I was doing it back then, and I'm pretty sure my mom, you know, it was one of her ideas. You know, go do it that way and it'll help prevent, you know, a little less glue and a little less fingerprints, and being real careful of keeping your hands clean and everything. But, you know, that was back when, you know, I still build for me and enjoy building for me, but I like to share them with you guys, and you guys really enjoy that kind of stuff, and bringing out some of my old builds that have been with me a long time. But, you know, and sharing, you know, what it means to me now versus what it means to me then. Then it was just kind of something to build and accomplishment and feeling of accomplishment, and then moving on to the next one. But, you know, a real simple kit, real simple build, but, you know, still have it. Just kind of funny to think about that. And never felt the urge on this particular one to modify it or restore it or make it any better. And, you know, I don't know why either, as I've always liked these spoke wheels and this particular look, but it's a fun one. This doesn't come off, it's glued on the roof, because I'd like to see the interior a little bit more. But that real long shifter sticking up out of there, and the real simple steering wheel. But yeah, just kind of fun to look over, and I'm kind of curious what you guys are going to think of it too. But, you know, like I said, goes back to a time that what that is. It's coming off. Just something that's stuck onto it now. But what do you guys think of something like this and some of your earlier builds, if you still have them, and what they may mean to you now. Like I said, this is, means more to me now, and the fact that I still have it, and than it did back then. Back then it was just, fun to build and moved on to the next one. And now looking back, it just reminds me of those times. Some of my mental attitude and stuff at the time, and didn't really care what others thought. And that I built models in my free time when I was stuck at home, or wasn't hanging out with anybody or couldn't go out, but just did this kind of stuff. But was always encouraged by my mom, mostly my mom, my dad a little bit, but my mom more. But anyway, you guys, thank you for letting me reminisce on this one, and you guys share your stories as well. But thanks for tuning in, subscribing, and all your comments. I really do appreciate it, you guys. And you have a good time, and I'll see you next time.